Shalom. Most High Grand Creator, Almighty, I am that I am. Ahaya Yahweh, I ask that you guide
my tongue, my mind, my heart, the workings of my hands, the goings of my feet to be in alignment with your will. Let me be invisible, for you are invincible. We continue with the Dealing with Healing series, as we all need healing from different things. I need healing from different things. Sometimes it's, we find ourselves in situations where we want, but we have to give. More often than not, that's the way of the world as the Creator has made it. The very thing that you want, you have to give. Give, and it shall be given unto you. So we're going to look at a few things, a few interesting things. I believe they're interesting. And yes, we're going to continue with the venue until I get took off the menu. Have mercy. Say, eat up. All right. The prince of the power of the air. As in, to err is human, to forgive is divine. Have mercy. And we're going to base this off 1 Timothy 6:21 and Proverbs 16:25. And I did figure out how I could switch that around. Let me just switch some around right quick here, y'all. It shouldn't change too much or nothing. But everything, okay. It's on the right side now. Mirror image, right? Okay. That's what was throwing me off. All right. Okay. Again, to err is human, to forgive is divine. Now, we talked about forgiveness a couple of videos. We even inspired some others to get out there and add on to that particular build. But did you know that forgiveness is really a two-part act? When you have aught with someone, when you have an issue, and yes, the issue is you. The issue is always you. Okay? Whether it's what somebody did to us, or what did you do to step out of the pocket of the Creator's grace to allow for that to happen? Why didn't you see it? Were you watchful? And again, I'm not talking about certain extreme cases and situations. People get carjacked and robbed and accosted and molested, things of that nature. No. I'm talking about, by and large, the ships that we jump on, the relationships, the friendships. And oftentimes we forget that we're steering. And the things that we say and do, by your words you will be justified, by your words you will be condemned. By and large, they will end up taking us where that ship ends up going. And so it's time also to, forgiveness is you're looking at what the other person has done. But there's another part to forgiveness. There's a counterpart, if you will, a co-pilot. If you want to get back on the proper waves of friendship or relationship, and that's apology. We can stand in the seat of forgiveness, and sometimes we can inadvertently end up in a place of blame or denial that I had any part in anything. I'm quite the imperfect human being, and it can be a difficult thing when you've suffered something and you did your end and you forgave, but perhaps the individual who you've crashed the ship with, be it a friendship or whatever, a fellowship, whatever type of ship that it may have been, they may not have done their end. Maybe they've forgiven you, but the second part to that is apology. So we're going to talk a little bit about the logy of apology, like theology, geology, astrology. Logy is the logic, and there's a logic behind apology, and scripture will back that up 100%. Please believe it. Hear me now, believe me later. So oftentimes what we get caught in is arrogance. We err against another human being with the prince of the power of the air, who's always against us both. And arrogance rolls, of course, with conceit. And that'll put you in the con seat. Oh, okay, I realize. Okay, it's backward to y'all. Okay, let me switch that around. Bam. See how easy that was? Let's do it one more again. Have mercy. All right, arrogance. Again, prince of the power of the air. To err is human, to forgive is divine. A great quote by Alexander Pope. Have mercy. All right, and again, the air against us all is the prince of the power of the air, who does not like for us to clear the air. The prince of the power of the air would like to keep issues in your tissues that will cause you discomfort and disease. So arrogance, when we err against one another and we refuse to acknowledge our part in that error, that is arrogance. Interesting, is it not? And of course, arrogance rolls with pride, and we'll look at pride as we delve inside of the pad here. But conceit, and conceit is generally a lie. Have mercy. I don't care what you conceited about. You conceited about your basketball skills. You conceited about your looks. You conceited about how much money you make. You conceited about the car you drive. You're conceited about your bloodline, your family, your heritage, whatever it may be. It is a conceit, the seat of a con, the adversary, feeding you the lie. Please believe it. Now, again, we all will make an error. When we err against one another, there's an error. And it's human to make an error. Actually, it's a little beyond human, because it's more like the prince of the power of the air, who gave me that quadraphonic stereo surround sound air roar for real. But the power of life and death is in the tongue. John 1:1, chapter 1, verse 1, the book of John in the Gospels. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God. Okay? The Word was God, and the Word was with God. By your words you will be justified, and by your words you will be condemned. So we make the error most often with our words, either by what we have said and have not admitted to saying or apologize for saying, or by what we will not say. Okay, that's generally not forgiving, or it can be not apologizing. What you will not say is as bad oftentimes as what you will say, what you have said. And when you let that stay in the air between you and an individual, especially if it's, a friend, but even worse, just because they're a child of God, if you keep those things between the air, that will create an error, of course. And also, interestingly enough, we also want to look at Aries, where we look at air and the stubbornness of wanting to be first, the self-awareness of I am. And again, this is about the god Aries, whose energy is most directly amplified and channeled down to the willing receptacles, antennas, persons, vibrations that are people. And that energy comes down a certain way. And it is exemplary of the of the Greco-Roman deity of Ares, also Ares. So they had them in both. But again, ease, and I meant to look at that as as a suffix, maybe we can look at it real quick. If you'll bear with me for a second, we'll look that up. I know, just by looking at it, I know that IES, is a suffix. Looks to be Latin to me, of course, Roman. The Romans spoke Latin, so it would be Latin. But I'll just put this in here as we continue forth. Etymology or Latin. I'll just put Latin. Meaning. Okay. All right, let's continue. But yes, you have the R. I'm the R, the A to the K I am. If I wasn't, the why would I say I am? Switch it around. It still comes out R. R is Ra. The same thing. The R. Which is why they begin Aries or Aris. Either one. Same being, disguised a little bit differently, with a little bit of a different myth. The same being, even as Ra, because again we're talking about the first, the prime creator. Okay, we're also talking about word power, verbal power, also being strong in that particular energy, we're told. Is is added to back vowel words. Is added to front vowel words. Okay. That is. Oh, okay. Okay. Yes, okay. It lets us know the obvious, that it's added to words that have a vowel in the front. Okay, we won't stay stuck on that. But anyway, we're looking at an obvious relationship there between the R and Aries and RS, arrogant, yes, and the Ra, which is again about the self-awareness. You have Ra, Kim, and you have Melly Mel, Beat Street, Breakdown, Ra. So you have Ra as a verb of power or a sound of power. Again, it has to do with the beginning, the first. And that's what we're really looking at here when we're examining that. Because it is in that deception of I am, Aries also represented by diamonds, Lucy in the sky with diamonds in her eyes. You can say, oh, that stood for LSD, stood for Lucifer. Okay. Hear me now, believe me later. But we'll look at some things before it's all said and done. The shining star, Aries, the number one sign. I shall be like the Most High sign, the beginning sign. Same thing with the Ra, again, self-awareness, the beginning, the creator, creating all things. It is both of them. We are looking at the false inspiration, okay, to, be arrogant, to be so self-aware or self-centered about who you are, what I am. I am upset, okay? I am hurt, okay? Again, you stand in a place where not only can you not heal, but you can be instrumental in allowing for a friend to be healed, or a loved one of some kind, or a stranger. Because when you're in that mist, in the midst of that mist, you are unable to minister to others, which requires empathy and sympathy. And in order to have proper empathy and sympathy, you must be able to see through the midst of the mist that you in when you feel dissed. Have mercy. And again, when we look at the R and Ra, you remember everything is backward. The Crowleyan law of reversal, always in effect. Okay? So don't sit in the seat of the con, the adversary, who said, I shall be like the Most High. To sit in the seat of the con will give you conceit. Have mercy. So now let's look at some more pros and cons. It's interesting. It's not giving me what I'm looking for on the E's. Okay, homework, somebody. IES. The meaning. Okay. I mean, yes is what, you know, I can look at that and see yes in it. The I, the Y, switch up. So it's affirming the syllable before it. But we'll come back to that. We'll come back to that. You guys are sharp knives. All right. Let's look at some more pros and cons besides the conceit of conceit. The pros and cons. Yes, of course. Believe in yourself. Question mark. Well, now, some of us have had things happen to us in our lives that were the adversary's attempt to bring us down and to cause us to have low self-esteem, or even worse, a low sense of self-worth. And that is a horrible, horrible attack that the enemy puts on us, especially sometimes, you know, he puts it on you in very devastating ways in your youth. And I know a lot of sisters who have really suffered some terrible things in their younger lives that were used to help to tear them down. And sometimes to compensate, you know, when you're having an issue in your right leg, you put more weight on your left leg. And you'll be out of balance eventually, even as you heal. Because we're made to have a balance, a proper distribution of certain things. And there should be a proper distribution of belief in yourself and belief in the higher power that created you. Okay? There should be not even a balance. Not 70-30, not 60-40. I mean, it should be where it's really more like a 90-10 thing, where, you know, 90% you know that it's the creator, you know, that's greater. And, you know, the 10%, you know, and that's where humility, you know, to have natural humility and to be naturally humble is a benefit, and it's truly a strength. Because when you see people overcompensating, it's because of some weakness somewhere. People that talk extra loud or act extra proud. And there's something that they're compensating for. Because when you're sure, you don't have to roar. Have mercy. And I'm a Detroit Lion of Judah. And I can be just as mellow. Because I know the game is what I'm true to. Have mercy. And I don't mean they game. I mean the A game. A higher. The power that's a higher. Anyway. Have mercy. All right. I'm going to have a little fun until I'm done. Not much. Just a little bit. So, we have confidence. Again, we're looking at that con again. Be careful about that con. Con usually means against, converse. Okay, conversely. Okay. Sometimes it means alongside, consequently. Okay. But, you know, pro-abortion or the pros and cons of a thing. Excuse me. That's pro and anti. Sometimes con can take the form of an anti type of definition. And it's interesting because the V and the F are two of those letters with the interchangeable sounds. We've looked at quite a few of them, and we've seen V show up in quite a few places. But V makes an F sound. V and P. V, P, and F can all share a similar sound. And so you'll find in different words, especially when you look from old to middle to modern English. You'll find a lot of interchangeability there between those three letters. But just for example, so you don't think that your brother is stretching here at all, let's just look at, and we say V makes F sound, okay, and vice versa. An example, you have wolf, which they could very well say wolves. I know some of y'all say wolves anyway. But of course we know, like the timber wolves, even Wolverine. Why not say Wolverine? Okay? But you see the similarity in the sound? Self and selves. Life and lives. See, some people have such a problem with me being just a brother from Detroit. You know, where's your faith in God? Where's your faith in the Creator? Okay? Don't play semantics with me. You know I know it ain't no God. You know, but for conversation's purposes, keep the conversation moving and grooving, and also to keep the education in constant elevation. Constant elevation causes expansion, and we're trying to expand this thing. It's not all about preaching to the choir, okay? So I don't care so much about what you require. Okay, there are some people who don't know certain things, and so you talk plain talk. If you know how to tell the truth, you can tell the truth with plain talk. Have mercy. You ain't got to cuss, you ain't got to fuss, and big words ain't a must. Have mercy. So anyhow, yes, like I said, it's proof positive that there is a true and living, everlasting, all-knowing, omnipotent, omnipresent, almighty, creator of all, who is not a respecter of persons. He don't care what you score on tests. If you went to the Ivy League college, they're supposed to be the best. Okay? Because upon wherever his spirit rests, you'll find the most blessed. Have mercy. You gotta give me a minute. I've been gone for a minute. I had to figure out how to make my next move my best move. But anyhow, no weapon formed against us shall prosper. All right. So you have providence, providence, and confidence. Again, we have a FV dynamic. Again, you see that? Do you see that? You see the pro and the con with the same word following behind the prefix of pro and con. Okay? And that word has to do with truth. Being true. Semper Fi, said the Marines, which means always true in Latin. Your grandma had that big stereo in the cabinet. It wasn't called a stereo in the cabinet, it's called a hi-fi. Why they call it hi-fi? Because it was supposed to be a great sounding stereo in the cabinet. High fidelity. And fidelity means true. Okay? Infidels. Okay? Not true. People that's not true. Okay? Disgracing the fidelity in a relationship or in a marriage. That means being untrue. Okay? Have mercy. Infidelity. So, yes. Providence and confidence. Interesting. Con, we say, is against. Do we not? You see that? Okay. And providence is true. You know about divine providence. Okay? Do you not? Maybe you need the official. Because, of course, how could I know? How could I know? I don't know, you know, I'm Detroit Public School, right? How could I possibly know any of this stuff that I'm saying? So see, when I say it, you know, my word, you know, it ain't good enough for you. You see, I play around with y'all. I'm too, you know, one brother said he appreciated that I can converse. I think that was Brother Mike. that I could converse, as if you was here. It's because I'm feeling comfortable. Now, if you want me to be uptight, I can do that too. I like to relax. Have mercy. But yes, providence, foresight. Okay. Providence, divine care, direction, the will of God or the gods. Excuse me. Okay. And of course, confidence is your will. Your care for yourself. Okay. And of course, pro means for, or the positive, and con, in this place, being the opposite or the negative of true, the untrue versus the real true, the true and living, gives you providence. Okay? The false and dying gives you confidence. Have mercy. So stay humble, or be humbled, like a bee bumbled. The Lord will bring down high looks. The lofty will stumble, bumble, fumble, crumble, and when asked what happened, mumble. Have mercy. You want to hear that again, don't you? Stay humble, or be humbled. The Lord will bring down high looks, the lofty and the lofty-minded, the conceited, the overconfident, the arrogant and the prideful, will stumble, bumble, fumble, crumble, and when asked what happened to you, why you fall down, mumble. Pride cometh before the fall of Lucifer. It came before the fall of Lucifer. It came before the fall of Kemet, Egypt, Rome. And it'll come before the fall of you. And the first person is me that I'm talking to. Please believe it. If it make you feel some type of way, maybe you should. And ask yourself, just how do you feel? Forgive and apologize so you can feel good. Don't play around with me. Do with you. I don't know what to do with you. Okay, the pride. So we're going to look at a lot of words. So if you don't like to read, I don't know what to say for you. The pride. Interesting. The pride is, maybe you don't know this. Okay? But a bunch of cows, or steer, or bulls, they call that a herd. Okay? A bunch of birds, they call that a flock. Okay? A bunch of lions, they call that the pride. The pride. The den of lions who reside in the pride inside. Have mercy. Have mercy. You think it's a game? Because it's coming from me. Pride cometh before the fall of Lucifer, of Kemet, Egypt, great civilizations, of Greece behind it, of Rome after that. And it'll come before the fall of this Babylon here. Please believe it. And it'll come before the fall of you. So get rid of that pride. That den of lions inside is what you need to do. They'll eat you up. Proverbs 16 and 18. Pride goeth before destruction. Okay? And a haughty spirit before a fall. Have mercy. I'm just reading the book. I didn't write it, y'all. Let's look at some more. Maybe if I read it out of here, maybe it'll penetrate your ear. I've heard of hard-headed, but I've never heard of hard-eared. But you turn a deaf ear. I don't mean DEF neither. You too near me not to hear me. Clearly. Okay, Proverbs chapter 15 and 10. Again. 10, 12, and 32. Okay. Correction is grievous unto him that forsaketh the way, and he that hateth reproof shall die. You shall live and not die. You shall take correction. You shall take reproof. It don't matter who it come from. A goofy goof or a chipped tooth. If it's right. Gee, Monelli. Somebody pray for me. Okay, and 12. A scorner. Who's a scorner? Oh, you always look at everything. I don't believe that. You scorn it, scorn everything. Doubtful, negative about everything. Come out of my mouth. A scorner loveth not one that reproveth him. Neither will he go unto the wise. Have mercy. I'm not wise. I don't know nothing. I was born last night and at night. Let you tell it. All right, 32. He that refuseth instruction despiseth his own soul, but he that heareth reproof, to prove again, that means somebody making you prove again what you think is right, making you look twice so you can really see the light, giving you some insight. Sometimes we're too shallow. We see everything on the outside instead of inside. Inside insight is what you need. Have mercy. All right. The ear that heareth the reproof of life abideth among the wise. Have mercy. He that refuseth instruction despiseth his own soul, but he that heareth reproof getteth understanding. Yes, that's right. I can read it, and you can too. I came from Detroit Public School. What do I know? What is a scorner? Look it up. Accept correction and instruction. Accept it when it comes to you and it's wise. Okay? I don't care what the person looks like from out of your judging eyes. Okay? And it's not always going to come at you soft and warm. Sometimes you need it hard and cold so it can stay packed on. Have mercy. For some people, my grandma used to say a hard head make a soft behind. That means a hard head, in order for you to receive instruction, you have to keep getting a lot of whoopings. Somebody don't like this today. They done cut me off already. Looked at the Love and Hip Hop report. That's all right. Wasn't for you. Goodbye. The lips of the wise disperse knowledge, but the foolish doeth not so. Proverbs 15 and 7. If you taking in knowledge, you're going to spit it out. Proverbs 15 and 25. The Lord will destroy the house of the proud, but he will establish the border of the widow. Proverbs 16 and 5. Everyone that is proud in heart is an abomination to the Lord. Did you hear that? Y'all hear me? You know what I'm talking about. Though hand join in hand, he shall not be unpunished. And you can put a she everywhere as a he if you like. You might not like. Maybe you should. 1 Peter 5 and 8. What's really good? The pride inside, your adversary, the devil, like a lion, as a lion, goes to and fro, seeking for whom he may devour. That means you got to be caught slipping. You feel me? The pride inside. Have mercy. The pride inside is the enemy of humility, serenity, sanity, and peace. Have mercy. It's the enemy of humanity and sanity, serenity, peace, and humility. Have mercy. All right, let's look at 1 Peter 5 and 8. Maybe if I read it from here, it'll get through that ear gate. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have enough credentials. You have to have credentials. And not just crack dentals. Okay. Relax. But be sober. Be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. That means he's looking for an inch. If you give him an inch, that's why it says give no place to the devil. Why, he'll take a mile in style. Have mercy. The pride inside makes you fixate upon certain things. It'll keep you from saying things you need to say, and not necessarily to the person that you look up to, but maybe to the person you look down on and frown on. That might be just what you need to do in order to release that pride inside of you. Pride is a crew of roaring lions. They would love to get a hold of you. They already got a hold of you. They in there. Is it in you? Worried about what others say of me. My ego. Self-awareness. As soon as I said that, I felt it. I said, but a good reputation is better to be had. Sit down somewhere. You get you a page. First of all, more than that, if you are supposed to be following in the way exemplified by Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Messiah, okay? Yahshua, Yahavashah, HaMashiach, then he said, first thing, he is in the Father and the Father's in him. So if that's your example, then you have to look at the things that the Father said first and foremost. Okay? And I'm talking about above what might be comfortable for you. In other words, one thing that's constantly reminded in reading the scripture, because we need to be reminded, because our mind often gets off of this, because we live in a world and a society and a land that does respect persons, that does respect titles, that does believe that because a person has a title or because a person has earned a particular level of scholarly or academic credential, that person hears better from the Creator inside of his mental. And you won't find that example in the scripture if you look in the scripture, okay? If you look in the scripture, that's not how God chose his people. And he's the same God yesterday, today, and forevermore. So the very same person that you may frown upon or look down upon, even subconsciously, because perhaps they don't have those credentials, or maybe you've met them on the bus or near the bus stop, or perhaps you've met them at the grocery store, and they're not dressed in the style of dress that you're looking for. You don't believe that they can have a word for you. And that's the issue. Okay? So until you shake that theory about people and being leery about people, okay, when it comes to accepting what may be a word from the Creator for you, you will remain lost in the sauce and tossed across. Because it is the goodwill and pleasure of the Creator to quite often to shake us out of that idolatry of others and of titles and of positions, okay, of so-called offices, to use people who aren't in those. I've seen this happen time and time again. So again, you know, and for some it's an issue of skin. For some it is. You know, how could you possibly, you know, I know it for some, you know, and of course if that's not an issue for you, then, you know, don't feel an issue in your tissue. I'm not talking about you, but we know that that does exist. And so again, don't rob yourself of the opportunity to glean what may be some wise words being spoken. Too many at one time watch the mic start smoking. But anyway, see, things like that, see that throws some of you off. So I'm gonna stop. You watch, I'm gonna stop. Next video I do, I'm gonna be so serious. You watch. You watch. My forehead gonna be tight. It'll be tighter than the strings on a banjo. And we're gonna see if you like it. Okay. But yes, you're worried about what others say about you. Okay. You're too worried about your own self-awareness. And again, we're not talking about the natural way that as believers and children of God, you know, who are part of a royal family of the elect, should be glad of that. See, to be glad of something is different than to be proud of it. Okay? But both of those things, being too concerned about your place, about how people view your position, your office in life, or your image, again, that's idolatry. That is part of the reptilian brain thinking of where do I rank. It's a military based thinking, really and truly, and it really comes from the what Isaiah said that he saw and understood, and what Jesus repeated and said he saw Satan fall from heaven like lightning. And you know, we know that he said he shall be like or as the Most High again. So this putting yourself up on some pedestal, pride helps you stay up there. And once pride has a sufficient hold on you, a sufficient bondage on you, what happens after pride has its way with you, okay, does you real bold without a kiss, is this: he's going to invite a couple of friends to have their way with their fists, and it's going to be denial. Yes, again, our good friend. Remember, the fear of the Lord is the instruction of wisdom, and before honor is humility. Okay? Proverbs 15:33. So watch out for your self-image. Don't let it get overinflated. I shall be like or as the Most High. Okay? When you're so worried about what people say about you, it give you a headache and a stomach ache too. Have mercy. Alright? Now, I ain't talking about that show no shame mentality. Again, we're talking about a thin line. How do you find the line? Pray about it. That's all I can say about it. There's a line. Okay? Yes, you should show some shame. You know, you should be humble. But at the same time, too, you know who you belong to. And since you know who you belong to, that ain't no need to front for nobody. Have mercy. Who are they? Have mercy. And who are you? Just you got to keep it all in perspective. Don't think you too much, and don't think nobody else is neither. Unless, of course, you're talking about the Messiah or Ahaya. Ain't nothing higher. All right, D-nigh, D-nigh, D as in of the, de la soul, of the soul. Black medallions, no gold. De or D of the De La Hoya was that? That's of the was that of the wolf? I think. But anyhow, you get the picture. But without the la, we still know that that's of, or that relates to of, or it can be used as in the term debone. Okay, to take the bones out of something. Okay, but again, we're looking at the fact that we know that this Nile is just a way of hiding the Nile, because we're talking about ancient spirits that go back to Babylon, that go back to Egypt, the Fertile Crescent, Mesopotamia, those areas. And yes, denial can be Nile deep. Okay, believe it. All right. We're talking about the Nile can go a mile deep, Nile deep. Nile deep and Egyptian shallow. Have mercy. Your denial can be Nile deep and Egyptian shallow. They wasn't shallow, they believed it. Just as deep as they went into black magic, literally, they also were just as deep into cosmetic things, shallow things, the outer things. And this is what blinded them concerning the inner things, what made them believe that they were found when indeed they were lost and wandering around. Don't ever wonder, Maxwell. Have mercy. All right. Denial, again, as we've talked about in other videos, denial is indeed a strong man demon. And denial is the guardian of resentment, bitterness, anger, loneliness, sadness. Sound like you're about to join the dark side, Luke. Strong bondage when coupled with its cousin spirit, pride. Pride and denial. They get together and they love to hide inside. Pride is connected and bound to the will, and it will not let go of you unless you do certain things you need to do, usually in the areas of forgiveness or apology. But pride is connected and bound to the will and the will not. Pride is what will make you do and say certain things, and what will not make you do and say certain things, and maybe you should. Sade had the album Stronger Than Pride. Love is stronger than pride, or it should be. For some people, pride is stronger than love, than money, than anything. Okay? For some folks, it's like passing a brick through their colon to apologize to somebody. What a grudge they holding. Have mercy. Pride, it will not let go. Okay? And of course, no one can pray to overpower your will. That is the essence of witchcraft. So you have to will yourself to let go of pride. Let's look at a couple more things. Pride, represented, of course, we said about the lion. Interestingly enough, we know that it's a strong energy of pride released during the time of the sunshine sign of Leo, which is, of course, where we get the word lion, is built off of that in Leon, means lion. And interesting, I looked at Leon backwards, and I saw Noel. El, of course, meaning Lord. No, Lord. or the self as God, viewing the self as God or as the Most High. And also saw that when I looked at the Dogon tribe, of course, Dogon backwards is no God, and they deified Numos, which was summon backward, interesting, or Numus. But anyhow, lion, lion and a cheating, lying in the sun, the sun sign. Lion, again, we're not demonizing you because you're this sign. Oh, I know Leo don't like that one bit. But again, we're talking about the energies, and the fallen beings who overstood these energies taught us this science of astrology. And yes, it's the will of the Most High that we use the stars and the heavens for signs and times, according to Genesis chapter 1. I think it's verse 14. But again, this science, putting a little magical lycanthropy behind each sign, which is nothing but a attribute or a disguise for the enemy, as a bull, as a ram, as a lion, as a hunter, so on and so forth. But anyway, to get back to this, pride will have you lying in the sun and lying. Okay? Don't be the Lion King, have mercy. But again, you will, and the mantra, like the mantra of Aries, the I am, the self-aware one, the Ra, R, Rees. Again, in Leo, we have the mantra or the motto. Mantra, just the Indian way of saying it. Sit down somewhere. Of I will. That's the motto. Interestingly enough, both of them having to do with the proclamation of the fallen leader, the adversary. I will is the same as I shall be like the Most High. Okay? Another statement of pride. I will. I am. Okay? All of the mantras basically. Taurus, I have, and so on and so forth. We talked about that in the astrology video, which of course was put together with the sole intention of breaking you out of the bondage of believing that someone can tell you whether your day is going to be good or bad based on when you was born. But that's not what it's about or what it's for. But again, let's continue. The sun sign. This is the Leo, the lion. Again, strong in pride. A group of lions is called a pride. This is all of these reasons connect, okay? And of course, your adversary, the devil, like a lion. So we're making that connection. We're connecting all of these things together. Now, just imagine that I went to seminary school and I have my theological degree, okay? And then maybe you can receive some of me. Have mercy. I'm just teasing. Okay, no, I'm not. Sun sign and fire sign. It's that duality. Sun sign and fire sign. Astro-theological and astrological significance overstood. Okay? I got that part backward and forward. We're not looking at that part. Okay? But we're looking at the shining, the getting attention, the self-importance, self-centeredness. Okay? And again, we know that Lucifer and his angels masquerade as ministers or beings of light. So again, all of these things are about pride. Get your shine on, get your shine on, get yours on, because I'm going to get mine on. And nothing but love for N.O. Believe it. Believe it. They asked me where I'm from. I said New Orleans. But no, N.O. and Louisiana in general. Enough respect. Real people, big-hearted people, real people treated me like family and loved ones, for real. Nothing but love for them, and my people's in GA. All right. Yes. So we're not talking about. See, again, there's a thin line between pride and arrogance and conceit, and being glad. Yes, that you are one of the 24 and 24, Matthew 24 and 24 elect. That should put a smile on your face for a while on your face. Yes, be happy, be vibrant, be optimistic, have joy and delight, especially in serving God and serving the Most High. The joy of the Lord is your strength. Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart. Joy and delight. Okay? Have mercy. Some of y'all walk around like you was baptized in vinegar and pickle juice. Whew. A merry heart doeth the body good like a medicine. And Proverbs 15 and 13. A merry heart maketh a cheerful countenance, but by sorrow of the heart the spirit is broken. Now, the Lord hears the cries of the broken and contrite spirit. I believe that's Psalms 34. But again, if it go forward, it go reverse. A merry heart does the body good like a medicine. So a sorrowful heart, or a heart that's not as at ease, okay, be diseased. All right? And that does the body bad like a poison. Please believe it. Poison. BBD and Cool G. But anyway, chapter 16 of Proverbs, verses 20 through 24. I put down a notation, read it to the people. I should have put down, they could read it for themselves. But no, sometimes it's good. You may not be in a position to read right now. So, I'll read it to you. If I can find it. Okay. Proverbs chapter 16, verse 20 through 24. He that handleth a matter wisely shall find good, and whoso trusteth in the Lord, happy is he. Ultimately, you trust in the Creator, not in yourself. Conceit, pride is trusting yourself and your ability to keep it all together. The Lord will bring you down low. He's done this for me, and He's had to do it time and time again because I get out of hand and out of place. Have mercy. And don't make Him have to bring you down so low as to a place of disgrace. You have a frown on your face. Get down low yourself. And like I always tell you, get down low on that flow. Okay? Like you've done before. When you was at the Momo. Have mercy. No, you ain't never been there before. But get down there on that flow and give Him honor like you would give a king. Do it sometimes. Have mercy. You don't want to give the Lord anything. Sacrifice is something you don't want to give. Don't you know that? Sacrifice is something it kind of hurts you to do. Sacrifice of praise. Okay, 20. The wise in heart, that means you praise when you're not feeling good. You praise on your worst days. The wise in heart shall be called prudent, and the sweetness of the lips increaseth learning. Can you believe that? Can you buy that? That's right, the sweetness of the lips. Have mercy. I should have read that before I started talking. But yes, a kind word turneth away anger. You have an issue in your tissue, and the issue is you. Take a few minutes before you say something. Or you know, and that's when the time permits. We don't always have that luxury. Don't you know that's a luxury? What I found with the Creator is He likes to throw you on the battlefield at a moment's notice, and He wants you to perform without rehearsing. You know, you're not going to get to rehearse every time. And again, that's sacrifice. When you don't want to, can you do it? Is it in you? You know, you got to build it. What do you have to go and do? What do you have to go and build up or tear down? Your self-image and your pride and your haughtiness and your conceit. You know, brothers, ain't nothing gonna fall out your boxes from you apologize. Have mercy. Some of you sisters, you act like you trying to swallow something heavy as a Chevy. It ain't gonna hurt you. You'll be okay when it's all said and done. You might feel better, because off your chest you'll get a ton. Let me continue till I'm done. I think I was at 21. Yes, the wise in heart shall be called prudent, and the sweetness of the lips increaseth learning. So again, you know, you will continue in learning, and you'll continue to increase, you know, without the bitterness in your heart. Understanding is a wellspring of life unto him that have it, but the instruction of fools is folly. Have mercy. Watching all that foolishness all day long, you'll learn from that. You'll learn from that. You'll watch Think Like a Man, Act Like a Woman, or whatever it's called, and you'll learn from that. The instruction of fools. You shouldn't learn from that. Unless you learn what not to do. But you can't do that because you look up to those people. You have too much of a respect of persons. And, you know, we're built, if we're not cautious, okay, if we're not sober and vigilant, we're built and programmed to take in what they say as, you know, their word is the proof of truth. Their mouth is a prayer book. Because they got what you don't have, and what you looking at, you taking it all in like a game goofy goober of the highest degree. The heart of the wise teacheth his mouth, and addeth learning to his lips. So again, you know, from out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So the things you keep feeding yourself, especially the things that you keep letting into your... See, the heart isn't just the beating organ in your chest. Okay? It's the seat of your emotions and your feelings at best. And lastly, pleasant words are as an honeycomb, sweet to the soul and health to the bones. Please believe it. This is the day that the Lord has made. Rejoice in it and be glad. Be glad about your achievements. Be glad about your children. Be glad about your goodly lineage. You know, the lines have fallen to you in pleasant places about your family. Okay? Be glad about your gifts, which was given to you. And be glad about your talents, which were taught. Be glad about the land that the Lord has given you to possess, your hometown or your city. But not proud. A thin line exists between confidence and conceit, so also with joy and gladness versus pride. You should have joy, you should have gladness, the oil of joy. Isaiah 61, boy. Pride implied something denied and a blind side. That's what pride implied. To be proud of this, I'm denying that. And I'm turning a blind side at the same time. So 720 degrees of knowledge, of overstanding, becomes inaccessible. Okay? So is correction. Because you're only seeing things from your particular positive direction. No correction, no perfection, wrong direction. Take instruction and constructive critique. Barbecue or mildew, life or death. Construction or destruction. Mercy. Last but not least, okay, for a little piece, the big three. Why I call it the big three? The big three. It's so rough, so tough in there, baby. These big three here be so rough and so tough on people. Henry Ward Beecher said, "A forgiveness ought to be like a canceled note. torn in two, and burned up, so that it can never be shown against the man. Please believe it. Forgiving. We've said it many times. We're going to see. I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. Okay? Forgiving. It's forgiving you freedom. Forgiving is forgiving you freedom. Acts 17 and 11. Psalm 51 and 17. Luke 17 and 3. Matthew 6 and 14. Let's look at Matthew 6 and 14. I don't just give you them scriptures so it can look like I did something. When the last time you cracked open the Bible? You ain't allergic to it now. Look at it. If it hurts your eyes, I don't know what to say for you. Matthew 6 and 14. 6 and 14. For if ye forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you forgive not men their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses. I think that's clear cut. Let's look at forgetting. But the other ones are good too. They give you more perspective because this is hard for you. It's like swallowing gristle. Acts 17:11, Psalms 51 and 17, Luke 17 and 3. You can pause. No. Oh boy. Mary Hart. Forgetting. And not that I'm, I have things that, I have some things that's really bothering me, but I'm not gonna let them bother you, okay, and keep me from doing what God has designed and given me to do. All right. Forgetting is forgetting freedom from bondage. Have mercy. Can you hear that? And pain. I couldn't see it. Forgetting is forgetting freedom from bondage and pain. Okay? It ain't like Frankie Beverly sang. It ain't supposed to be joy and pain. Pick it. Pick one. Isaiah 1 and 18. Matthew 11, 28 through 30. 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verses 5 through 8. Ephesians chapter 4, 31 through 32. I thought that was the best one. Well, one of the best. Both the 2 Corinthians and the Ephesians. Check them out. Check them out. It's not going to take but a second. You can do it. Okay, Ephesians 4, 31 and 32. Let's look at that quickly. Okay. Ephesians 4:31. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor. Clamor, that's a noise for nothing, a whole lot of foolishness. And evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. Put all that away. And be ye kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God, for Christ's sake, hath forgiven you. And again, it's not for the other person. It's for you. It's for you. Because I know you don't want to do it for them. You still, low-key, you still mad at them. And you don't think they deserve it. Even though they're as much a child of God as you are. Okay, in the same way you want it from God, you got to give it up. Sometimes you got to give up what you want. Ask, and ye shall receive, but ye have not because ye ask not. And even greater than that, give, and it shall be given unto you. Pressed down, shaken together, running over with good measure. Now let's look at this one. I thought this was interesting. This is very interesting. Enters and it rests. Enter, resting. apology. Somebody, ooh boy, somebody fell out their chair, like showing across the Dracula. Releases you from pride and denial. Because them is two rude boys. Them two wild boys, pride and denial. Pride says, I'm too whatever to say I'm sorry. Whatever. Fill in the blank. I'm too good, too mad, I'm too purty, I'm too rich, whatever. Fill in the blank. That's pride, always. I'm too blank to say I'm sorry. I'm too hurt, I'm too mad. Or apologize. Some of y'all don't like to say you're sorry. You might be sorry. I'm just kidding. Sometimes I'm sorry as I could be. Denial. Your denial, again, I ain't did nothing wrong. I'm like an Egyptian god of denial. I didn't do anything. Again, you can't only understand your own point of view. Okay? That will allow you to understand, but you won't overstand. To overstand, you got to stand over the top of something and see everything on the table. Have mercy. And you did do something. You always do something. There's something that you did or said. The world don't work like that. And again, we're not talking about certain extreme cases. We understand about rape and molestation and assault and robbery, mugging, carjacking. I'm in Detroit. I can name a whole lot of them. We're not talking about them. Have mercy. We're talking about the bickering, the fussing, the, you did me wrong, the emotional battles that we go through. Okay? That, those scars, unfortunately, sometimes they can take more out of us. And if we're not careful about the things that the Most High has moved me to bring on this video, and that we really know down deep in our hearts, if we're not careful about those things, those scars can last for a lifetime. So that's what really motivated me to do this, because I love you guys, and I love you and I care about you, and I don't want you to be hurting. Okay? If someone says you hurt them, did something they felt wronged by, then who are you? I know that's what I said. To deny how they feel. Are you saying that they're lying, or are you simply just denying? You did something in that argument, sister. You did something in that argument, brother. You said something. Okay? You said something that's worth apologizing for. Okay? You're not little Miss Perfect. Okay? If the person who you were arguing with or having an issue with, okay, if there's someone that you care about, then your ability to hurt them is just as powerful as their ability to hurt you. Okay? So you cannot deny when someone says, hey, or when their actions have obviously showed that, well, they're remorseful and they apologized. They may have even forgiven you without you apologizing. But that's part of releasing pride and denial from you. It's a two-step process. Forgive and apologize. Have mercy. I know it hurts you. It gives you heartburn. And again, that's the body's reaction to what goes on in the mind. Okay? We need to free your mind, and the rest will follow. Have mercy. In Vogue knew it, and so did P-Funk. So if someone says that you hurt them or did something that they felt wrong by, then who are you to deny how they feel? Are you saying that they're lying, or are you just denying? To deny also promotes ignore. Hence to ignore. Ignorance. You will ignore how they feel. You'll be too stuck in what you think and how you feel and your self-image and your pride and your denial. Ignorance. Ignoring another person's feelings or point of view. Ignorance. 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 Even amidst your pain, God's people. Now this for believers. Non-believers, you've been ear hustling too long anyway. Beat it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Welcome. Okay. Even amidst your pain, God's people, believers, children of Ahaya, Yahweh, the true and living I am, that I am, eternal. Even amidst your pain, see the point of view of others. That's Christ-like love. That's sympathy. That's empathy. Okay? If you call yourself a force for good or a part of a ministry, it's essential, because you're going to be hurt, and the enemy will know how to use different things to cloud you, mystify you, put you in a mist, in the midst of a mist that you can't see through, so that your ability to minister to others will be hindered, and that will take one more soldier for the Most High, for Yah, off the field and out the game. So even amidst the mist of your pain, because it's a fog, it'll put you in a fog, dog. And even worse than that, it's illusory. Not that your pain isn't real, but it's always more amplified because it's how you feel. You can balance that out by allowing yourself to feel how someone else feels. And it tends to take away some of your focus, okay, from your own vision and point of view where all the smoke is. Sometimes it's swarming like a herd of locusts. Swarms of locusts. You have to clear your view so you can see the logic of apology, the logy of apology. You have apostolic, apostasy, apocrypha, and apo, which means away from or away, and logy, which means logic. Just like you have theology, astrology, geology. Do you see that? The spell of spelling again, revealing in the days of revelation. Okay? But of course, because y'all get it. Logy, logic, science or the study, okay, or the logic of. So it's away from the logic. Sometimes it's, or you can look at it as from logic, because it's logical to do so, because it releases you from the bondage of pride and denial. But it also can be away from logic, because you may think to yourself logically, and again, logic is not the proof of truth, okay? Logic is the key to linear thinking, okay? But sometimes in your linear thinking, in the lines, the L7 of thinking, you'll put yourself in a sure enough box that locks, and you'll be bound. So put that L7 down and look around, and apologize where you can. Okay? All right? So you can get those shackles off your hand. Apologetic people show humility. Sincerely apologetic people show humility. Okay? James 5:16, Ephesians 4:26. Be angry, but sin not. Do not let the sun go down on your anger. James 5:16. Let's look at that real quick. Oops. Just passed by it. No Kango today. It's hot. It's hot in the D. It's hot in more ways than one. Make it hot. All right. Hey, that's my lot. James 5:16. Is that James? Okay, James 5:16. Okay. Confess your faults one to another, and pray one for another, that ye may be healed. The effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. And when that says confess your faults one to another, that does not mean that you run to the persons that you respect. That means that you run to the persons that you've offended, confessing your faults one to another. That's what that means. One to another, meaning we have an issue with each other. We're confessing our issues one to another. If you don't believe me, look at, get you a concordance and look up the Greek meaning of that, because of course I can't possibly be right, because who am I? I'm just a brother from the D, and I'm proud to be. I'm glad to be. Okay. ApoLOGY. ApoLOGY. The logic of getting away from being in the box of logic, getting away from pride, getting away from denial. Don't wait until the apocalypse to apologize. Matthew 5:22 and 24. Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John. If I can turn to it real fast, I'll read it and then we out of here, y'all. I've kept you long enough. It's hot. Okay. Matthew 5:22 and 22 through 24. But I say unto you that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment. And whosoever shall say to his brother, Raka, shall be in danger of the council. But whosoever shall say, you fool, shall be in danger of hellfire. Therefore, if you bring thy gift to the altar, and there rememberest that thy brother have aught against thee, you got some kind of issue in your tissue, leave there thy gift before the altar, and go thy way. First be reconciled to thy brother, and then come and offer thy gift. Agree with thine adversary quickly, whilst you are in the way with him, lest at any time the adversary deliver you up to the judge, and the judge deliver you to the officer, and you be cast into prison. Have mercy. So before you even are able to sacrifice, which is, giving your offering, which is a requirement, before you're even able to do that, you got to clear the air. Clear the air of your arrogance and apologize. The logic, of coming away from pride and denial. ApoLOGY. Okay. Pride and denial will hide their friends for a while. And this is it. And we out of here. 1:30. Pride and denial will hide their friends for a while. Their friends regret, remorse, and guilt. Regret. Gret for grit. To regret. Regret what? Your teeth. Remorse. You think I'm joking? Remorse. Morsus. Morse comes from morsus, which means the Latin, which means to bite or clasp. Both of them have to do with the gnashing of teeth, regret and remorse, because in hell there will be much regret and remorse and guilt. I saw guilt right off the rip. Then did a little research, found out Guilt, of course, a crime, a sin, a fault, a fine, or a debt. And then the guild, it had to do with payment to a brotherhood, or bondage to a brotherhood. So again, bondage. And it also had to do with yielding, to yield, to pause, to halt, to stop the progress of. So watch out for guilt, because guilt will cause you to yield. Okay? And be bound to the guild. Please believe it. You have to pay a bond when you're bound. And the regret, to grit again, and the remorse, to clasp down or bite again. Regret and remorse will put you in a personal hell, where there'll be wailing, crying, and gnashing of teeth. Okay? It appears 7 times in the New Testament. The wailing and gnashing of teeth, you can find that in Luke 13 and 28. And Matthew 13 and 42, among other places. It appears 7 times in the New Testament alone. But yes, you will have much wailing and gnashing of teeth if you allow for pride and denial to hide their friends for a while. Regret, remorse, and guilt. And I say for a while because after so long, you know what's going to happen with regret, remorse, and guilt. They're going to start to manifest in your body. You'll begin to have, it's a tightening issue. You'll begin to have, you may even have dental problems, believe it or not, but you're going to begin to have a tightness, arthritic problems, neck pain or back pain, because you're carrying these things around with you. Believe it or not, hear me now, believe me later. Be about to be without it. Luke 7 and 47 through 48. Apologize to God first, because he is no respecter of persons. Okay? Apologize first to God. All right. Let's jump and look at this Luke right quick. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Luke 7, 47 and 48. Then we out. Isaiah 61 anointing. It's on me, so I can't be disappointed. I'm going to do it till I'm through with. And that's all I got to say about that force. All right, Luke 7 and 47. You know what I need from you. Pastor Porkchop and the crew, they have totally eviscerated the believers' belief in supporting the community priest. And so, I just ask that you don't allow for them to do that for you in your community. Okay, because the true office of the priest is to be supported by the community. All right, and that's just the reality of it, because it's a full-time job. When you're a serious priest of the Most High, true and living God. And so wherever they are in your community, I'm not talking about the biggest, most prestigious church. They don't need nothing. All right, they jiving the people. All right, I'm talking about that there is some man of God there. It's just the way that God does things. He's raised up someone in your community, all right, who needs and deserves the report of support. Okay, and that's not for those who don't got it. All right, because you can't pay your way with God, or God is not no slot machine, but it's the way that the priesthood was set up from the very beginning. All right. Read Leviticus. All right. And it's the way that it's supposed to be. So when you have a real priest in your community, don't let these fake priests, Pastor Dollar and Pastor Porkchop and the rest of them, turn you off from doing what's right. All right. I just had to say that, because some people they sacrifice their life. All right. And if things don't go right, how long will you mourn them? Luke 7, 47 and 48. Wherefore I say unto thee, her sins, which are many, are forgiven, for she loved much. But to whom little is forgiven, the same loveth little. And he said unto her, thy sins are forgiven. the Lord forgive the woman who wiped his feet with the hairs of her head, and you know, they were trying to talk down on her. Okay, and again, you know, I'm an imperfect man, and we're all imperfect people. We should be striving toward perfection, as it is commanded, be ye perfect, even as the Lord Jesus Christ was perfect. That means you're supposed to be striving toward that level of perfection. And part of that is to, you know, check out the man in the mirror. All right, don't just be comfortable saying it's just another part of me. You know, we all have faults and issues. At what time will you deal with the issues in your tissues? That's when you will begin to heal. That's when you will begin to remove the pride, remove the denial, remove the regret, the remorse, the guilt. That's what apology does. The pride and denial, you know, that gets up off of you through forgiving, forgetting, and apology. All right? It's a 3-step process, and we can all do it because it's part of being Christ-like, which is what the Great Commission is really all about. So again, you know, sometimes it's our own selves that needs the healing. So we've been dealing with healing, and I thank you. This is Unplugging. And again, yes, apologize to God first, because he is no respecter of persons, though you may be. Don't forget the feelings or the point of view of the other party, for God loves them, and they are just as important to him as you are. Perhaps you won't hear their issue with you, which they may have forgiven, but the Most High will. So don't let the Father have to come down on you because you won't apologize to one of his children. Shalom.